Hello everyone, this is Crystal and welcome to my channel where I share card making techniques and sweet paper crafts and now inspiring food ideas. I have been honored by Garrett at Created Home with G to be a part of his color challenge. Each month, 3 to 4 designers will be making a card using the same 4 colors. This month, our colors are red, white, black, and gold. And being the month of February, I decided to make a heart-shaped card. This is what I call a locket card. I wanted to make it to look like a locket like an antique locket that one would wear around their neck. And inside it says, "Together we make a great pair." So stay tuned as I show you how to make this lovely little card. For the month of February, our colors for the color combo challenge is red, white, black, and gold. And I decided to make what I call a locket card. I decided to use the large Sweet and Sassy die. It is like 4 by 4 1/4, and I cut 2 of them out. One in heavy duty white cardstock and the other in regular black cardstock. And then I took both of them and I took my scoreboard and I scored down the top of it at 1/4 of an inch. And on the black one, I folded it back and I used my bone folder to get a nice deep crease. And then I took my art glitter glue and I glued on the score line on the white cardstock. Put glue on the score line and above it. So I knew exactly just where I needed to put the glue. And this will make our hinge for our heart to open. Now I'll line the black and the white one up together and make sure I have it lined up good. And then I'll press it down really good to make sure the glue has really good contact, because we need it to stay together for the card to open and shut. And then I'll fold it back and crease it to make sure it's going to open for us really well. And here I'm taking a piece of gold metallic cardstock and I'm putting it inside of the embossing folder. This embossing folder is a Tim Holtz embossing folder. And now I'm running it through my Big Shot, and I'll run it through one side, and then I always run it back again, back the other side too. It's just easier for me to get it out of the machine that way. Plus, if I go through it the second time, I know it either has a good cut or it has a good embossing. And now I'm going to take black StazOn ink and I'm going to rub it across my piece of gold that I have embossed, because I want to bring out the details of the embossing. So I'm going to take it back and forth, just drag it back and forth. I don't want to make lines across it, but I just want to get the top sections blackened to draw attention to the roses and the leaves and to kind of give it more of an antique-y old finish, kind of to look like like a locket. And when I'm satisfied with the way that it looks, then I'm going to take it to my embossing machine and I'm going to cut that same size a heart out of it. And then I'm going to take my art glitter glue and I'm going to make sure I cover it really well over the back of it because it's embossed. So it's not going to adhere. as well as if it was flat. And then I'm going to take it and I'm going to glue it on top of the piece of black cardstock. And I'm going to make sure that I have it lined up really well. And then I'm going to make sure I press it down really good, but not enough to smash the embossing. I'm going to leave it intact. And now I'm going to take a die that is 2 sizes smaller than the original one that I used for the main card. And I'm going to cut it out of gold metallic cardstock as well. And then I'm going to pop it up with foam tape on the back to give it a little bit of dimension. And I will put it in the center of the heart. And now I'm taking a punch that I have that is a love punch, and I'm punching it out with black cardstock. And then I'm going to take Glossy Accents over the love to give it a nice glossy shine. Or you could even take and you could heat emboss it with clear embossing powder. But I chose to use the Glossy Accents. And I'm just showing you this with the cap on it because I have one over on the side that was already done. So I will just kind of switch them out. And now I'm taking a piece of red glossy metallic cardstock and I'm punching out an arrow. I'm just going to bend the card back a little bit to make sure that it will still open since I put the gold metallic on the front. And now I'm using the Stampin' Up! Set Sealed with a Kiss. And I'm going to use the sentiment in there that says Hugs and Kisses. And I'm going to stamp it out with my black Memento ink on a piece of my scrap white cardstock. When I use a photopolymer stamp set, I always use foam in between to stamp on to give it a cushion, to give a better stamp image. And I also stamp it out on paper because I want to see to make sure that I have it on my block straight. And I want to make sure it's going the right direction. With the photopolymer, it's easy to see that you've got it going the right way. But sometimes with some of the other stamps, it's not so easy to tell. And now I'm taking my scissors and I'm just cutting a nice rectangle just really close to the sentiment. Now I'm taking another Stampin' Up! Set called Animal Outing, and I'm stamping Together We Make a Great Pair. And as you see, I had it upside down, so that's why I always like to try and stamp it on a piece of paper or something so I can get an idea of what it looks like. And so now that I've got it going the right way, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to stamp it on the inside of my card, which I should have stamped it before I did all this other stuff, but I didn't. And my stamp block was too big to go in there, so I put it on a smaller stamp block so I could get it in there good. So I went ahead and stamped it on the inside. And there we go. And now I'm going to assemble the card, and I'm taking my little sentiment that said Hugs and Kisses, and I'm just taking my bone folder and I'm kind of curling the edges because I want it to look like a piece of paper coming out from underneath it, and I didn't want it to be flat. I wanted to give it a little bit of dimension. And then I'll put a glue dot on the flat part, and I'll put a little foam square on the raised section, and I'll slide it underneath that little heart in the center. And now I'll take my red arrow and I will cut it in half because I want it to stick out at either end, and I'll put a glue dot in each one, and I will glue and stick them underneath that center heart. And for the sentiment, I went and I curved it a little bit with my bone folder, and I put foam tape on either end and put a glue dot in the middle. The foam tape will help keep its curve once I put it on the card, so it'll still keep its shape. And I'm doing just a dry fitting here to see how it's going to work before I actually stick it down. And now I'll take my Xyron machine, and it just turns anything into like a sticker. And since that love is going to be like really hard to put the glue on it, and I don't want to use liquid glue because it'll be messy and it'll look ugly, so I'll put it through this machine instead, which is really easy to use. You just push it in there and you roll it around, and then you rip off the tape on the back. You want to rub it to make sure that you give it a good adhesive, and then you just peel it off the back, and just be careful that you don't rip your piece. And then I took my pen, and there's glue that sticks in the center of these things. I'm trying to get up here where you can see it, and I'm taking my pen and trying to move the glue so it breaks up and it goes back behind the paper part. So, and the pen works really well for this. And now I just go ahead and just stick it on the center part. And I just laid it down lightly to see what I thought of it. And I didn't care for it too much the way it was, so I ended up peeling it off and turning it the other direction. And then pressing it down good so it has a good seal. And now my project is finished. So if you like what you see, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe to my channel. And check out my blog at crystalcraftandfoods.com. I'll put the link down below in the description box. We encourage you to join us in the color challenge by creating a card using the same colors. Then post your card at Create at Home with G Facebook site. Check out the post and follow the rules. Oh, by the way, did I mention there's a drawing for a goodie bag? So please check it out today. Bye for now. Happy crafting!